Now let's take a look at a few differences between the Mac and Windows. Let's go to my Mac. The first thing we're going to talk about is the Finder. If you're coming from Windows, you're used to exploring your hard drive via the Windows Explorer. On a Mac, we do that through our Finder, and we can always find it in the left side of our dock. When I click on this, it opens up a window. Again, coming from Windows, you're used to Windows Explorer. On the Mac, it's called the Finder. The next thing is our applications. When you open up an app in Windows, you're used to opening up a program. On the Mac, they're called applications, and they're all located in our applications folder. So if you're coming from Windows, you'll find your programs in the applications folder, and they're called apps or applications. The next thing is the trash. If you're coming from Windows, you're used to calling it the recycle bin. Well, on a Mac, it's called the trash, and it's always located on the right side of the dock. I click on this, and I can see everything that is in my trash. Now, when you want to set up the default behaviors for an app, you do this through the preferences. If you're coming from Windows, you're used to calling it settings or properties. When I go up to the Finder here, I want to set the default behaviors for it. I select it, and you're going to see preferences. But all the default behaviors are located in preferences. If you come from Windows, you're used to settings or properties. The next thing is our system preferences. When you want to go and change the display settings or change your network. On Windows, you're used to going to the control panel. On the Mac, we go to our system preferences. The system preferences is always located underneath the Apple in the menu bar. I select this, and you're going to see system preferences. It's also located by default in our dock. When I click and hold on this, we're going to have all of our different system preferences or preference panes. I can also just open up our system preferences here, and we can view all of our different preference panes. Again, coming from Windows, you're used to seeing control panels here. Now, when we're looking at our system preferences, you'll see we have one preference pane for desktop. This is what is our wallpaper. I want to change the desktop picture. On the Windows, you're used to changing the wallpaper. I just click on this, and we have a number of different desktops that we can choose from. I'm going to go back to all of my preference panes here. Now, the nice thing about the Mac is it has built into its search Windows terms. So let's say I didn't know that it was called the desktop picture. I'm going to go over to search here, and I'm going to type in wallpaper, and watch what happens. It highlights desktop. So if you're not sure what the term is, you can still use the Windows term, and then the Mac will try to return results that are equivalent in the Mac world. Now in Windows, when you're surfing the internet, use Internet Explorer. On a Mac, we use Safari. It's just another web browser, just like Internet Explorer. Now, depending on which version of Windows you use, you may have a start bar. The start bar has all of your different applications in it. Well, we can create something that is very equivalent to the start bar. All we have to do is place the applications folder, this is where we have all of our programs or applications, in the dock. So let's go and do that. I'm going to open up a new window by clicking on the Finder. We have our applications here. Let's select it. Now, to create a start bar, all I have to do is take this folder here, and then I drag it down to the right side of my dock. It'll place it in my dock, and now I have the applications folder. I'm going to close this window, and watch what happens when I click on this. We have all of the different applications on my Mac. So now I've created a start bar. All we have to do is just drag the applications folder to the dock. Now when we're working with our menu bar, you're going to see that it always stays at the top of the display. When you're working with Windows, the menu bar is usually at the top of the window. On a Mac, it is always at the top of the display. So when you're looking for the menu bar, just go to the top of your display and you'll find your menu bar. When we're looking at the menu bar, over on the right side, we have a number of menu extras. This is equivalent to our taskbar. I want to get to my network. I click on the network. I want to see my battery. I click on the battery and I can see my battery. So this is equivalent to the taskbar, and it's on the right side of the menu bar, which is always located at the top of the display. On the keyboard, we have an Option key. The Option key is equivalent to the Alt key on Windows. So when you need to press the Alt key on the Mac, you just press the Option key. The Windows key is equivalent to the Command key, which is next to the space bar. When we're in an application and we want to close it, we quit out of the application. I'm going to go to iBooks here. Open it up. And now I want to quit out of it. I go up to the menu bar and you're going to see Quit. This is equivalent to Exit in Windows. When you close a Windows program, you exit out of it. On a Mac, we quit out of it. Let's go ahead and quit. A couple more items. If you're used to creating shortcuts, we can do the same on a Mac, but it's called an alias. I'm going to create a new folder here. I'm going to go up to File here and create a new folder. So we have our new folder here. I want to create a shortcut. Well, all I have to do is just select it, and then we go up under File in the menu bar, and you're going to see Make Alias. When I make this alias, it actually made a shortcut. And you're going to see we have an arrow in the lower left-hand corner. So this is just pointing to our original folder. It's not a duplication, it is an alias. Now we can also, I'm going to delete this, we can also control-click to get to a secondary menu. I'm going to hold down the Control key. And now when I click, we have a secondary menu. And we'll talk a little bit more about this later on in the tutorial. But if you're used to right and left clicking, we can do the same thing. We just have to control-click to get to our secondary menu. And if we look here, you're going to see we have Make Alias. The last thing is, when you import photos into your Windows computer, you import them into the My Pictures folder. Well, on the Mac, we import them into the Photos app. Now, the Photos app does keep all of the photos in a Pictures folder, but it keeps it in a library. I'm going to go and open up my Finder here. And we're going to go to my Pictures folder. When I double-click on this, you're going to see I have Photos Library. This is where the Mac stores all of its photos, in the Photos Library. It does not store them loose in the folder like Windows does. So if you're coming from Windows, those are some key differences between Mac and Windows.